and welcome to another BookTube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. And today I'm going to be talking about my favourite things from the month of September, because today is the 1st of October. Happy October. That means Halloween's here. David and I have really embraced Halloween over the past few years. We used to be a bit frightened of it. We both do not like scary films, but recently we've been buying a few little pumpkin garlands, some pumpkin candles, little pumpkin tea light holder. So October is a fun month for us now because it means we get to get a bit Halloweeny? Do I mean Halloweeny? But anyway, less about that. Let's talk about the things, my favourite things from the month of September. September sort of went by in such a quick, like it's just been and gone. I can't even believe it has been and gone. It's just happened so quickly. So let me start, as I always do, with my favourite book of the month. My favourite book of the month was The Testaments by Margaret Atwood. This is the long-awaited sequel to The Handmaid's Tale. I've gone into quite some detail about this in my September wrap-up, part 2, because I read so many books in September. That's another one of my favourites, how much I read in September. But just to sort of go over what I loved about this. So what I will say about this is that I found this so gripping in a way that I've never found a Margaret Atwood book like this before, like gripping before. It is the sequel to The Handmaid's Tale, and you follow 3 different perspectives. You follow the perspective of Aunt Lydia, who is high up within Gilead, and you find out her background. And I hadn't watched any of the TV series, and I'm aware that Aunt Lydia is a big character in the TV series, so it was quite interesting for me to come to Aunt Lydia not knowing who she was. You also follow one of the girls who is training to be a wife within Gilead, and she decides she does not want to be a wife and she would prefer to be an aunt. So that you follow her, and then you follow somebody who isn't living in Gilead. You follow a young girl who's living outside in Canada, and you see her sort of like looking at Gilead from an outside-in perspective. There's new characters within here, things like the Pearl Girls, who are sent to recruit people to Gilead, and you come into contact with them from her perspective. I love the 3 perspectives. Love them so much. It reminded, like, it was just, when I was finishing one perspective, I was thinking, oh God, I've got to read more because I need to know where this perspective is going. And not even in like a Nancy Drew cliffhanger way, just in a really well written and enjoyable way. I really loved it. I would say a few people have asked me off the back of talking about this in my wrap up, do you need to have read The Handmaid's Tale to enjoy it? I don't know if you do need to have read it, but what I will say is that I revisited The Handmaid's, I'm going to put this down because it's heavy. I revisited The Handmaid's Tale via graphic novel. I bought my sister the graphic novel for her birthday earlier this year, and that was, I think that was about £12 I paid for that, and that was a really good way to quickly sort of get that to the forefront of my mind before I started reading this. So there are parts of it where I was like, oh, that's interesting, and I don't want to spoil anything by saying yes, it's directly linked to it, or no, it's directly not, but I feel like you could give it a go, but it would always be worth sort of revisiting it or listening to it. I would say yes, you do need to know what's going on. That's what I'm gonna say. But yeah, absolutely loved it. Gave it 5 stars. Really enjoyed it. Already looking forward to listening to the audiobook of it next year, because a lot of people have said to me that the audiobook has been fantastic. So telly in the month of September. September has been a good month for telly. There's been things like Peaky Blinders we've been watching. We've very much enjoyed that. Taskmaster's back. But the 2 things that we've been really watching, oh, Bake Off as well we've been watching, but the 2 things we've been loving is Celebrity Masterchef, which is something that we've sort of began watching in previous years but never followed it the same way the whole way through, because there is so much of it. It's on 3 times a week for 2.5 hours. There's an hour show on a Monday, an hour show on a Wednesday, and a half hour on a Friday, and you have 4 weeks worth of celebrities in these shows before you get to the semi-finals. Now we've just got through all of the 4 weeks of Celebrity, so that means I've watched 10 hours of Celebrity Masterchef so far, and now we're about to go into the semi-finals. But I love it. So what I love about it is that I consider myself quite a good cook. I can follow a recipe very well. I'm getting better with sort of like making things up in my head. But when I watch Celebrity Masterchef, those people were at the same level, if not slightly worse than me. So when I watch it, I think, I could completely do this. And I really like watching it. And David and I have a really good chat when we're watching it. And some of the standard of cooks this year have just been abysmal. Imagine getting through to the Celebrity Masterchef semi-final by cooking a pasta bake. So I've been very much enjoying watching that, and I believe that it's not going to be on as much now. Now we've got through the big weeks of like 2.5 hours of it a week. But we're definitely going to watch actual MasterChef next time and try and stay up to date with it, because it's been very enjoyable watching it. We've really loved it. And then the other thing is Strictly Come Dancing, which you all know that I absolutely adore. The competition is back properly now, so we've had the launch show, etc, etc. We've now have 2 weeks worth of dancing. The first week is the best first week of Strictly Come Dancing I've ever seen. The dancing was absolutely amazing. Kelvin, Karim, Michelle, those are my 3 favourites. We watched it again last night. We had my friend Emma around, and we just loved it. Just really enjoy watching the dances. Love the dresses, love the music, love the judges. Just love everything about it. It really does scream like Christmas countdown to me. And David and I, I'm sure you know because I've gone on about it so much, but David and I have been doing a podcast related to Strictly Come Dancing as well, called Strictly Pod Dancing. So if you'd like to go and listen to that, then please do, because we've been very much enjoying doing that. We watch the show and then we come and record it straight away, and then David edits it. He's ever so good. Then he edits it. He's up till about like midnight, gone midnight editing it. Yeah, and we're going to be doing a few midweek shows and like after the results shows and things like that. So yes, been very much enjoying Strictly Come Dancing. Something else that I've enjoyed in the month of September is it was David's birthday. David was 34, and amongst other things, I took him to a place called Elmley Nature Reserve, which is a nature reserve which has a lot of nature and birds and things like that, and they've got these shepherd's huts on their premises. Now we stayed there for my 30th birthday 3 years ago in one of the actual little shepherd's huts. It's absolutely blissful. It's so quiet, so relaxing, and I wanted to take David away somewhere just for a night this year for his birthday. And the only thing they had available was, I looked to see if they had any of the shepherd's huts available, and they didn't. They had this hut that's got a big glass wall, like so when you're looking out of your bed, you can see this gorgeous like scenery and wonderfulness, and I booked it and we stayed there and we just had such a lovely time. I documented quite a lot of it on my Instagram story, so you may well have seen it on there, but it had an outside bath, so we had a little outside bath which was really cute and fun, and we played board games, played card games. They had a little tiny kitchen in there, so I did as pie and roasted potatoes. Oh my god, the oven in there was took so long. It took like 4 hours to cook roasted potatoes, but it was really good. So we didn't end up eating until about 9:45. We watched Christmas in a Day, which we always do on David's birthday. It's one of our favourite Christmas films, so we always watch that on David's birthday to sort of celebrate Christmas is on its way. And yeah, we just had such a lovely time. We woke up to watch the sunset, woke up to watch the sunrise, which is something I wanted to do on my autumn bucket list as well. We just had the most beautiful like 20 hours, not even 24 hours, just relaxing and just being in each other's company and just having a lovely time. And it was so nice because we live in a flat where we can't have windows open because Minnie would jump out, to have these massive what are they called when they folding windows or something. So this whole open window with the door open, it was just bliss. It was just one of the best days of my life. I really loved it. It was amazing. So it was really nice to go there and celebrate for David's birthday. Next up, something that I've been making out of the green roasting tin, which I've actually made a few times before, but I've made it lots of times this month, and it is delicious. And that is 2 of the crispy gnocchi recipes. So this is one I made last night. This is crispy gnocchi with roasted peppers, chilli, rosemary and ricotta, except I didn't use ricotta because I don't really like ricotta. David hates ricotta, so we just have mozzarella with it. But you just roast gnocchi, which is a way that I've never even thought of eating gnocchi before. So you can buy packs of gnocchi. Sometimes you don't, it's not even in the fridge. Sometimes, like most of the time, it's in the chiller with like the fresh pasta. But sometimes you can buy. I bought it in Asda and Aldi before, just in packets like with the normal pasta. And you just put it in the roasting tin with this. You put it with chopped peppers and chopped tomatoes, bit of rosemary, oil on top, salt and pepper. Just shove it in the oven, and they crisp up so lovely. They're like little dumplings, like little crispy dumplings and soft in the middle. But I've done it a few times, so although I've followed the recipe for this, sometimes I've just done it with what I've had like in the fridge or in the freezer. So we always have green beans in the freezer. That's one of my things. I love green beans. So before I've done it with green beans and broccoli and just whatever I could get roasted, like reduced veg that day. And yeah, it's really good. So if you also, David doesn't like gnocchi when it's cooked the normal way, so just boiled with pasta sauce or something, but he loves it this way. So if you think you don't like gnocchi, or if you fancy a change in how you eat gnocchi, then do try it this way because it's really yummy. So another success. Could you believe that this keeps giving? It keeps giving, and yeah, crispy gnocchi, absolutely delicious. And then One thing that's got two things in it is that my niece was born this month. My sister has been pregnant for 9 months, and she's had a little baby girl now, which is wonderful because we don't have any babies in our family. David and I don't plan to have babies, and it's really, really nice to have a lovely little baby in the family, and she's adorable, and David and I both love her very dearly, and it's really nice to see like my dad with a baby, like holding his little granddaughter, and like my mum's gone wild for her, and it's just been really, really lovely to have a little niece here, which is amazing. Like it's so weird that like there's this person now. This person didn't exist, and now we've got a little mate enough, and we've got an extra member of the family, and yeah, it's lovely. She's really, really lovely, and I posted a photo of me holding her on Instagram, which I will insert here, and in that photo, I mean, everyone was delighted that I had a niece, but in that photo I'm wearing this shirt that everyone also, I had so many messages. This is like as many messages as I've had in such a long time, since people have started messaging me saying that they bought the green roasting tin off the back of me. Everyone wanted to know where this shirt was. So this shirt, it's originally from ASOS, but I got it on Depop because that's where I got everything. It's second hand, and it's lilac with like, it looks, from a distance, it potentially looks like leopard print, but it's not. It's little yellow stars with like a little black squiggle behind them, and I just love it. I really, really love it. I love the pattern. It feels really nice. It's silky on the outside and less silky on the inside, and I think it was like £12 or something online, second hand. So yeah, absolutely delighted with that, and pleased that you all loved it as much as I did. It was very nice to get all those messages and say, where did you get that shirt from? And then the last thing, oh no, two more things, sorry. Two more things. So one thing, just linking in with David's birthday, while we were there, I bought him a game that we would play because there was no TV or anything like that in the hut that we were staying in. I mean, I would have been happy just to sit and read, but I know David wouldn't have. So I took Phase 10, which is a game we love playing. I also took a movie misquotes game that David got for Christmas that we hadn't played, which we sat around the fire and played. But I also bought him and wrapped him up this, which is Harry Potter Labyrinth. Now, we played Labyrinth, the original game, when we went on holiday to the Lake District earlier this year. A couple that we went away with, Toby and Benedict, bought it with them, and I loved it, and I think we were having a discussion. We were like, wouldn't it be amazing if there was a Harry Potter version of this? And I looked for it, and there is. So I bought it for David, and I had this. I mean, this was on my Christmas list as well, and then I thought, I'm gonna buy it for David because he will love playing that. So basically, and I can't really just show it very well because it needs to be laying flat, but you've got this board. Excuse me. You've got this board, and you have all of these different paths that you insert. Yeah, I really can't show you when it's handed up, set up like this. I'll insert a picture, and you move, you have an extra sort of bit of pathway, and you can move the pathway as you try to collect the people on the map. So there's Hagrid, I think that is, I'm looking for it, Dobby, and yeah, it's just really fun, and I quite like games where you have to use your black brain and plan ahead and things like that, so yeah, been very much enjoying playing that. We played it something like 4 times within about 4 hours, and I said and we went to David's mum and dad that night, and I was like, should we take Labyrinth? And he said, I think I've played a little bit too much of Labyrinth today, so I'm going to take it to my mum and dad's today, and we're going to play it there. And then the last thing that we loved, that David and I both loved, we went to see the Downton Abbey movie this month. David and I were big fans of Downton Abbey. We really, really enjoyed it. We find it very cosy watching. Actually, the story behind first watching Downton Abbey is that I wasn't feeling very well. And I kept saying to David, you'd love Downton Abbey, you'd love it, it's really cosy. And he was like, no, I wouldn't, I'd find it really boring, blah, blah, blah. This is when we were like early days of us going out with each other. And I wasn't very well, and we were at his house. And I said, can we just watch one episode of Downton Abbey, please? It'll make me feel better, blah, 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 blah. And we put one episode on, and after the first episode he went, you can put another episode on if you want. And then since then we've loved it, and we've rewatched it a number of times, so we were very excited when they made a movie, and we went to see it, and we loved it, and we just thought it was really happy, really like made for people who love Downton Abbey, so made for us, and yeah, we loved it. We thought it was really fun, and again, costumes, haircuts, love it all, decor, we really, really enjoyed it. We were the youngest people in the cinema by probably about 40 years, but we really, really loved it, and yeah, it was lovely. So those are my favourite things from the month of September. I hope you've all had a wonderful September. Let me know what some of your favourite things for the month of September are, and I will see you all again tomorrow for an October book haul. Exciting. See you all then. Bye.